Petroglyphs of Karelia. Karelian petroglyphs, rock engravings of venerable age, were created more than 6,000 years ago. The petroglyphs of Lake Anagha shores and the White Sea coast are included into the largest collection of prehistoric images on rocks in northern Europe. It is a unique source of information about Neolithic peoples, about their culture, mythology and way of living. The term petroglyphs is used to describe any image created on a rock surface by scratching, engraving or carving. Petroglyphs have been found in Asia, Europe, Scandinavia, Siberia, South and North America, Africa and Australia. Northern Europe. The hardest rocks of the Baltic Shield are very old. Some rocks were formed more than 3 million years ago. The later geological layers were literally bulldozed by glaciers. The last glacier retreated about 12,000 years ago and the Holocene epoch began in Europe. The present boundaries of seas, rivers, lakes and landscapes became well established. Over time, forests were inhabited by birds and animals, and human population began to increase. What was life like during the Stone Age? What was the mind of early humans? Archaeological finds tell us about life of ancient people, but rock engravings provide deeper insight into the subject. Petroglyphs reflect concepts about the world. Karelian rock engravings are always found in the most picturesque areas. Ancient artists lived on the shores of the White Sea and in the Vig River Delta, on the capes and nearby islands of the eastern shore of Lake Anagha. Exactly there, archaeologists found images of people, animals, birds, tools, different signs and symbols carved with quartz axes. Lake Anagha and the White Sea petroglyphs are located about 300 kilometers apart in southwest and northwest of Karelia. There are pretty enough facts proving that the two petroglyph galleries had ties in certain periods. Some identical images were revealed, not just similar, but as if they were made by the same hand. Anagha petroglyphs are located on the eastern shore of Lake Anagha and nearby islands along a distance of some 20 kilometers. There are more than 1,020 images in 25 separate groups. When the glacier retreated, the Earth's crust sagged under its weight, started to swell. For thousands of years, the northern basin of Lake Anagha rose over 30 meters above its southern part, but petroglyphs left undisturbed. The first Anagha petroglyphs were discovered in the middle of the 19th century by an archaeologist from the St. Petersburg Museum of Imperial Academy of Sciences, Konstantin Grenvin, who organized an expedition to the region in 1848. Cape Besov protrudes a full kilometer into Lake Anagha. This is an amazing and nearly mystic sight. It seems to have a boundary between the worlds, between the sky and the vast expanse of open water, and the foundation of the earth, under the sun and the moon that are quite often can be seen together. It seems that ancient people also never remained indifferent to the magic of the place. They left images on the most durable information carrier, on granite. They took advantage of rock forms, cracks, fractures, of different colored rock particles. The uniqueness of Anagha petroglyphs is in the content of imagery. There are a lot of water birds, mostly swans. There is no such a preference in the rock art of the Eurasian region. The most popular image depicted is the devil, a human-like creature with a rectangular body and a huge square head. The 2.5 meters long figure is cracked in halves. Obviously, the Neolithic people considered this crack as the entrance to the netherworld and created the whole image around the crack. A 7-pointed Orthodox cross is etched over the image of the devil. It is thought to be made in the 16th century by monks of the Mura monastery. On Cape of Besov there are also fantastic images which combine both human and animal features. There are a lot of mystic circles and half-moon symbols with beams spreading from them, lunar and solar signs. These images make the rock sanctuary special among others in the world. In combination with expressive nature, with capes of granite and woods, endless expanse of open water, all this gives a special, inimitable impression, as if you travel back in time to that epoch, because the landscape survived, it hasn't been changed at all. The artists created the White Sea petroglyphs on the islands of the Vyg River Delta. Some of the groups of petroglyphs were named after former islands: Yerpin-Pudas, Большой Малинин, Novaya Zalavruga, Staraya Zalavruga, Besove Sledki. The Besove Sledki group of petroglyphs was discovered in 1936 by Alexander Linevsky, a researcher. Besove Sledki include 400 densely located images on rocks. There are starfish, animals, birds, boats, people, scenes of hunting and sea catching. Along the lower part of a rock there is a chain of 8 bare footprints that leads to the devil, an expressive figure about 1 meter long. The second petroglyph group was incised in the rocks of Zalavruga. There are more than 2,000 ancient images. There are very unique, multi-figure compositions that can't be found anywhere in the world, only at Zalavruga. That's why they are certainly considered the masterpieces of rock art. Watch your steps. Do you see the skiing route? 3 hunters followed a deer track. Here are the prints of ski poles, only 3 pairs. Here the track splits into separate directions. There were 2 deer, so the hunters shared the prey. People are depicted in detail, almost portraits in the pictures. In profile, a protruding nose, a chin. The researchers think that Zalavruga has the most ancient depiction of a skiing man. For the first time, the White Sea petroglyphs were catalogued by Vladislav Ravdonikas in 1936. Then, in 30 years, an archaeological expedition supervised by Yuri Savatyev found a new large location of the rock art, about 26 groups of petroglyphs. Discoveries continued in the 23rd century. Nadezhda Lobanova, an archaeologist, found new clusters on the shores and thus discovered yet 200 separate images on seemingly well-investigated territory. Rock art is always a collaborative art of a man and nature. Karelia has been lucky. We have such cultural heritage sites, unique in many respects. Petroglyphs of Zalavruga are practically an encyclopedia of the Neolithic hunters' and fishermen's life. The most popular themes are sea catching and hunting scenes, but there are tragic scenes of violent clashes with the images of killed and wounded people. The quality of performance, the level of complexity and expression of scenes of Zalavruga rock arts are unmatched in the world. They provide scientists with information that archaeological documents lack. And in this, Karelian petroglyphs are beautifully preserved. They are in much better condition than similar rock carvings in Europe and Asia. Karelian petroglyphs are etched in the hardest rock, in granite. That's why they came down to us in their original state. The period of rock art creation had lasted for about 1,000 years and finished after another natural catastrophe. Global cooling triggered a water level increase and petroglyphs at Zalavruga and Epinpudas became submerged. Later, they were buried under 1 meter layer of sand. New tribes inhabited the territory in the next millennium. Archaeologists find artifacts that can be dated precisely, and it can be concluded that the rock carvings are much older. Revealing the exact date when petroglyphs were created is a unique situation in the archaeological world. The Karelian petroglyphs had been created in the Neolithic times. Through centuries, ancient artists created the whole worlds on rock, but that epoch is gone. The climate and landforms changed, so rock carvings soon stopped. The artists captured their time, and it seems as if the history ended it all. The carvings remained, and they exist in the same landscape as it was 1,000 years ago, a monument created by man and nature.